Item 10C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with Sierra Traffic Markings, Inc. for the on-call striping contract in the amount of $50,000 and approving a total budget in the amount of $55,000.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The topic in front of you tonight is regards to the on-call striping contract. The city has a pedestrian safety and traffic calming program in our capital improvement program to address and respond to neighborhood traffic-related concerns through the installation of various traffic control devices. And these traffic control devices, such as pavement markings like lane stripings, are used to convey messages to drivers using the roadway. And this contract will install new markings recommended by the Traffic Safety and Parking Committee, and also will help restore some of the existing pavement markings. The scope includes furnishing and placement of thermoplastic materials for the purpose of striping, road legends, installation of raised and retroreflective pavement markers, and removal of traffic striping and roadway legends, and providing temporary traffic and pedestrian control. The project was advertised in the San Mateo County newspaper on April 26th, as well as May 3rd. Notice to bidders were sent to 66 contractors listed in the city's contractors directory, and also posted on the city's website. A total of 2 bids were received and opened on May 17th, one from Sierra Traffic Markings and the other from Crisp Company. The contractor, apparent low bidder is the Sierra Traffic Marking with the bid amount of $65,225, and the contractor has completed similar on-call striping services for agencies such as Palo Alto and Dublin. And staff contacted the respective project managers at those public agencies and received favorable references for the Sierra Traffic Markings, and the general feedback was that the contractor performed well on these pavement marking projects and completed their tasks as requested within the scope and schedule. Therefore, staff is recommended to award a contract to Sierra Traffic Markings as the firm meets the qualifications requirements as specified in the contract documents. The contract award, it will be only for up to $50,000, and the installation of the pavement marking is moving operations, and there may be some temporary lane closures that's needed during construction, and we will be notifying any residents of any impacts to road closures if it's necessary to perform the work. And as for the fiscal impact, the traffic calming program budget includes an allocation of $267,000 to complete the design and construction of various traffic safety projects, and the total project cost is within the budget, and the amount will not result in any additional fiscal impact. And the city will continue to use our striping equipment where we can, and supplement this contract for locations where our staff are unable to perform the work. So this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jimmy?
He just answered it, which was I knew we had a zipper machine, we have a striper machine, we are using it, staff does use it. It's just you're saying that they can't get to all of it, so this is the reason, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any action by the council?
Through the
Marty?
chair.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to mention that I'm glad this is coming before us, because it's just recently I noticed that when we come up to an intersection that the marking is almost gone, and in many cases there are crosswalks striping that is pretty much worn out. So I think it's really important, real safety measure to at least get those crosswalks up to par, visible.
Okay. Marty?
Yes, thank you. So they're going to come out and on a 5 times, 10 times. Do you have an idea? Is there a mobilization charge that they're going to be providing? And if it's only $50,000, I'm concerned of how much that's going to get done. And then, of course, I'm concerned of why can't our crews do it if we have the equipment, and they're overwhelmed, or it's just so random, or help me understand that.
Sure. So as part of the TSPC, I know there's a lot of recommendations that comes through in regards to the traffic calming issues that we're dealing with, and what some of the recommendations that come forward are to install these fog lines to reduce the lane width, to control the speeds. And there's locations in the city that have been recommended that we have to install these fog lines. These are really long stretches of road where our staff are unable to perform those type of traffic pavement markings. So we do use our the equipment where we can, and we've used it on several a couple of crosswalks recently to replenish,
Sure.
the crosswalks. In regards to the mobilization, yes, there's going to be, there's a set amount of costs that we put in our bid that, a minimum of $5,000 per each service that we request from them to be able to, so that they can mobilize each time. So as a minimum work, at least up to about $5,000 is what we have in our contract.
And you're anticipating them coming out, well, obviously less than 10, but
Right.
a couple of the larger projects, is one of them Crystal Springs?
That's correct.
With all the buttons in the
That's
middle of the
correct.
road, and, okay, that one's been at the TSPC
Yeah.
meetings for a while. And if you could send me a copy of the bid sheet?
Sure.
I would appreciate getting that to kind of see what items they're being charged, and these are prevailing wage contracts, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, all right.
Anything else?
Yes, through the
Irene?
chair. Thank you. So Jimmy, is San Bruno Avenue also in this list? Great, okay. And then how are you determining what comes next? And which is related to my second question, is $50,000 enough? Should we be upping this? Because along with Vice Mayor Ibarra, I've noticed more than several crosswalks that are being faded, and especially I'm concerned during the summer months, not so much, but before the school starts up again, I would really like us to make sure all this crosswalks and the stop sign markings by all the school crossings are up to par. I noticed even on Oak by St. Robert's, it's pretty faded.
Yeah, so $50,000, there's a lot of thermoplastic that needs to be replenished, in our city. So we would have to assess all those locations and come up with an amount. But for now, what we had estimated was $50,000 was going to be adequate for some of the work that we had already have in our work plan is from the TSPC, as well as some of the other, like Crystal Springs and San Bruno Avenue. But we can definitely come back to council at a later time if we do need additional money by having another contract, and let's see how this one goes first.
Okay, and I have one more question. Could we have an update sometime soon on the San Bruno Foundation's requests for certain community foundation,
The flashing beacons.
Totally,
Safety improvements.
yeah, the money that they've given us to do certain pedestrian crosswalks. Have we progressed very far on those things?
We
Or-
have, actually. So the city has been designing the flashing beacons at two locations. So we designed it at Portola Elementary School. There's a mid-block crossing there, just right down, just got the crest of the hill at Amador. Then the other two locations were at Parkside Intermediate School. And so we perform our own internal design to try to save some money and costs for the installation of, for these. And so we've done that. We've also included two locations as part of the San Mateo Avenue Water and Sewer Replacement Project. And so that will be coming to council for award of contract on July 11th.
Okay, and then, and then, remember, I think it's been 3 years now, that you all, through Caltrans doing a crosswalk on Angus and El Camino, and we went through all sorts of gyrations about it, and that's been a long time. Anything, yeah, tiger stripes. Where is that?
Yeah, I do have an update on that as well. And
Great.
so the project, we recently submitted the project to Caltrans for their review, and they came back. The staff actually met with Caltrans at their headquarters, and when the reviewer, Caltrans reviewer, was not acceptable to some of the bulb outs that we had in there, or the curb extensions, as well as the median center refuge. And we're really concerned about that, because that was the whole intent of the design, is to shorten the crossing lane for the pedestrians, so they'll be able to make it across the El Camino. So we are trying to go above him right now to try to talk to his supervisor and try to get this thing resolved, so that, because that wasn't something that we were anticipating, and it was kind of threw a curveball on us with their comments.
we've had discussions about this at CCAG, and if you email Sandy Wong, she'll give you the contact information you need, and you should be able to get action very soon.
Okay, perfect. We'll
Thank
do
you.
that. Thanks.
Anything else or action by the council on this item?
I'll introduce.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.